Welcome back to our spine-chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Peach State, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this fourth installment of Most Haunted Places in Georgia, we journey deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so chilling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From Civil War battlefields soaked in blood to eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, Georgia is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Georgia's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time, battles fought under moonlit skies, forbidden romances cut tragically short, unsolved murders that haunt small towns, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll venture into some of the most infamous haunted locales across Georgia, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie plantations cloaked in tragedy, and tread cautiously through abandoned asylums teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Georgia, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Marshall House, Savannah's spectral sanctuary. Nestled in the heart of Savannah's historic district, the Marshall House stands as a testament to both Southern charm and spectral intrigue, a grand 19th century in whose elegant facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Built in 1851, the hotel quickly became a retreat for travelers, dignitaries, and soldiers seeking refuge during the tumultuous years of the Civil War. With its sweeping staircases, ornate chandeliers, and cobblestone courtyard, the Marshall House exudes an air of timeless grace. Yet beneath its polished veneer lies a darker narrative, one marked by disease, violence, and untimely deaths. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Marshall House revolves around room 403, said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Mary. According to local lore, Mary fell ill with yellow fever during one of the city's devastating outbreaks in the late 1800s. Her family checked into the hotel hoping for respite, but she succumbed to the illness within days. Guests staying in room 403 frequently report strange occurrences, toys moving inexplicably across the floor, faint giggling echoing through the walls, and the overwhelming scent of lavender lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find a childlike figure standing at the foot of their bed, only to vanish when approached. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Union soldiers who occupied the building during the Civil War. Historical records indicate that the Marshall House served as a makeshift hospital and morgue during the conflict, leaving behind a legacy of suffering and loss. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of male voices whispering phrases like, "Hold your ground," and "We're still here." Witnesses describe seeing shadowy figures clad in tattered uniforms pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be rifles before vanishing without a trace. The hotel's basement, once used as a storage area for medical supplies and bodies, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Marshall House frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty soldier's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Marshall House remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Mary, the Union soldiers, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale. The Sorrowweed House, whispers of betrayal and bloodshed perched on a quiet street in Savannah's historic district. The Sorrowweed House stands as a monument to antebellum elegance and familial tragedy. A Greek revival mansion whose grandeur masks a dark and twisted history. Built in 1840 for Francis Sorrell, a wealthy cotton merchant, the house quickly became a symbol of Southern aristocracy, hosting lavish parties and esteemed guests. Its towering columns, intricate ironwork, and sprawling gardens evoke a sense of opulence and refinement. Yet beneath its pristine exterior lies a legacy of betrayal, suicide, and murder, making it one of Georgia's most haunted homes. The central figure in the Sorrowweed House's haunting narrative is Matilda Sorrell, Francis's wife, whose life ended in tragedy under mysterious circumstances. According to local legend, Matilda discovered her husband's affair with a household servant and confronted him in a fit of rage. Overwhelmed by despair, she leapt, or was pushed, from the second-floor balcony, plunging to her death on the cobblestone driveway below. Since then, her ghost has been seen wandering the halls of the mansion, her ethereal form clad in a flowing white gown. Visitors recount sightings of a pale woman gazing mournfully out of upstairs windows, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. Adding to the house's spectral lore is the story of Molly, the enslaved maid rumored to have been involved in the scandal. Historical accounts suggest that Molly was accused of complicity in Matilda's death and subsequently hanged in the carriage house as punishment. Her spirit is said to haunt the grounds, appearing as a shadowy figure clutching her neck as though struggling to breathe. Guests exploring the property often report hearing faint choking sounds accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the carriage house, as though Molly's anguish lingers in the air. The Sorrowweed House's basement, once used for storage and servants' quarters, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore she saw a young girl playing with dolls in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the girl may have been a victim of illness or accident during the house's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Sorrowweed House's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the second-floor landing and the carriage house. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Sorrowweed House continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to take a guided tour, the opportunity to encounter Matilda, Molly, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Sorrowweed House promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Moon River Brewing Company, spirits among the suds housed in a stately brick building that dates back to 1821, The Moon River Brewing Company in Savannah is as much a haven for craft beer enthusiasts as it is a hotspot for paranormal activity. Originally constructed as the City Hotel, this historic structure has served many purposes over the years, including a bank, a post office, and even a morgue during the Civil War. Today, it stands as one of Georgia's most haunted breweries, where patrons sip pints amidst the lingering presence of those who refuse to fade into oblivion. One of the most persistent legends tied to the Moon River Brewing Company involves Julian, a former occupant believed to have been lynched in the building's basement. Historical records indicate that Julian was falsely accused of theft and met a violent end at the hands of vigilantes. His ghost is said to haunt the brewery, particularly the bar area, where staff and customers report seeing a tall, imposing figure clad in tattered clothing. Witnesses describe feeling an icy draft pass through them as Julian drifts by, while others report hearing faint whispers urging them to leave this place. Another prominent figure in the brewery's haunted lore is believed to be Emily, a young woman who worked as a maid in the City Hotel during the late 19th century. Described as beautiful yet tragically naive, Emily fell victim to the advances of a wealthy guest who promised her riches and romance. When she discovered his intentions were less than honorable, she confronted him in room 204, only to meet a gruesome fate. Accounts vary, but all agree that Emily's death was brutal and unjust. Her spirit is said to linger in the upstairs dining area, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in Victorian attire. Patrons often complain of feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sound of quiet sobbing that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. The brewery's basement, once used as a holding cell for prisoners awaiting trial, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with stocking supplies describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a delivery driver who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Moon River Brewing Company frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the establishment's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty prison uniform standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Moon River Brewing Company remains a popular destination for locals and tourists alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to visit after hours, the possibility of encountering Julian, Emily, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the premises, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the brewery's tragic tale, the Chickamauga battlefield. Echoes of war and sorrow nestled in the rolling hills of northwest Georgia, the Chickamauga battlefield stands as a somber reminder of one of the bloodiest conflicts of the American Civil War. Fought over 3 days in September 1863, the Battle of Chickamauga claimed the lives of over 34,000 soldiers, leaving behind a scarred landscape steeped in tragedy and spectral activity. Today, the battlefield serves as a national military park, drawing history buffs, nature lovers, and paranormal enthusiasts alike, all eager to explore its haunting beauty and unearth its ghostly secrets. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Chickamauga battlefield involves the White Lady, a spectral figure said to wander the grounds in search of her fallen lover. According to local folklore, she was the fiancée of a Confederate soldier who perished during the battle. Unable to cope with her grief, she roamed the battlefield nightly, calling out his name until she too succumbed to despair. Visitors report seeing a translucent woman dressed in a flowing white gown gliding silently through the mist, her hollow eyes fixed on some unseen point in the distance. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing soft sobbing emanating from vacant fields. The battlefield also bears witness to countless soldiers who met untimely ends during the conflict. Many believe residual energy from these battles remains trapped within the landscape, manifesting as phantom sounds of cannon fire, musket shots, and distant cries of agony. At dusk, when the sun dips below the horizon and the forest falls silent, some visitors swear they can hear the thunderous roar of artillery and the clash of swords, as though the battle rages on in another dimension. Others report seeing apparitions of men in tattered uniforms, their faces gaunt and weary, charging into combat even in death. Paranormal investigators exploring the Chickamauga battlefield have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the Snodgrass Hill Monument and the Wilder Tower. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the edge of a clearing before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Chickamauga battlefield remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely hikes. For those brave enough to venture onto the grounds after dark, the promise of encountering the White Lady or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the battlefield, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the site's macabre legacy? Patterns across Georgia's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Georgia, from the opulent halls of the Sorrelweed House to the somber grounds of the Chickamauga battlefield. Striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the shadowed basements of courtrooms, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet, both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Georgia's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Georgia's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.